Welcome to Consume Content. This is episode 5. I'm Josh. This is Matt. And today, Matt is
I'm
going
Matt.
to... Yeah, that's Matt. Matt is going to pitch us on a show and or movie. And or
I'm
game.
pitching you.
Yeah, he's pitching to me and the audience. Where did his video go? Matt, where did you go?
I don't know.
Okay. I didn't need to bring it. I don't know.
There's a shortcut. I can peace out of here anytime I want.
Yeah, he can. He can. Take a sip of coffee over here. Let's see here. Is that a fly? Oh, there's actual fly in here. I mean, I hear cricket in the background. That's not me commenting on the fact that no one's saying anything right now. It's just there's an actual cricket in this room. And I'll clean up the audio later.
It's audio texture.
Sure. Okay. Do you have your list?
Yeah, I got a list.
Okay. You got a list.
Well, I keep telling myself we're gonna talk before we record and figure out how we're gonna do this, and then we never do. We just start recording.
We can stop right now. Right now.
Don't stop offering that. That's not an option.
Okay, it's not
You
an
can't
option.
do that.
But we can talk. What do you want to
do
talk
that.
about? You want to talk about the beginning?
No.
Okay.
Just figuring out our outline.
Okay. What's our outline for today? This is good.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't.
It does matter. We have listeners, presumably.
It doesn't matter. We don't have one.
We do have listeners. Random people from other places in the world download this podcast and they listen to it. I don't know who these people are, but
Wait,
there's
what do you mean? How many?
I can look it up right now. Let me look it up.
Well, while you're doing that, listen to me.
Okay.
I'm excited. I've started putting a list together, and I've got a sizable list, but there's a couple things I'm excited about, and I swear to God, you better not have seen them, because then it just ruins the whole thing.
Okay.
So let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. Do you want me to tell you the numbers first?
Yeah, tell me the numbers. What are we looking at? How popular are we?
How popular? So episode 1 total downloads 20. It's 20 downloads.
Shit.
Yeah, it's 20 downloads, and
On by who?
I don't know who. It says, but look, we have top 5 locations: Los Angeles, Ashburn.
It's all your mom.
It's not my mom. My mom doesn't know this podcast exists.
You're
Well,
right.
I told her about it.
It's your grandma. We saw her.
Grandma.
She was in the video.
She doesn't know how to download podcasts. I can't. I have enough difficulty getting her to log on to her her Bible her online Bible study.
Oh, Jesus is online now.
Jesus is online now. Wherever you are, Jesus will find you. But top cities: Los Angeles, Ashburn. I don't know where Ashburn is, but we have 6 downloads from there. Italy.
What the hell is Ashburn?
I don't know.
Did you say Italy?
Italy. Yeah, it just says Italy. City not available, but 5 downloads from Italy, right? And then 5 downloads from the US, 4 downloads from the USA. Not specific cities. Don't know where there is. And then we have 3 downloads from Brussels, right?
Brussels. What?
3 downloads from Brussels, 3 from Boardman, a city called Boardman in the US.
What state is that?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It just says city and then country. So, and then San Francisco, right? 1 from there. 1 from Mombasa, Kenya, right?
Welcome, Kenya.
1 from Hickston, USA. And then
I want
another.
to say Missouri. Okay.
And then Columbus, USA.
Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio.
Presumably.
And so those are, episode 1, 20 downloads, episode 2, 14 downloads, and episode 3, it's 6 downloads. Episode 4, as of this recording, episode 4 hasn't come out yet,
We're trending down.
Well, that's just how it is. That's how it is because episode 1's been out the longest, right?
My thoughts are,
What?
if you're one of those 20 or so downloads and you're not, a robot or some aggregate service just pulling content, please engage. Please comment on a YouTube video or something. Let me know.
Okay.
Say hi, and I'll give you a shout out. I'll shout you out.
We need more social media profiles. We don't have enough.
There's a YouTube, like as long as there's a place to get started, and a TikTok.
Yeah, we
Josh,
have a YouTube.
give
and
them
a
the
TikTok.
handles now. What's the YouTube and what's the TikTok?
Consume content.
Okay, but that's the most boring name in the world. So,
It's consume content on both.
Are there spaces, or is it how?
So, the YouTube channel is just consume content. 2 words.
Which, by the way, there's more than one consume content
Is
channel
there?
on YouTube. Yeah, because I googled it and
Shit.
I was getting stuff like QVC, like product buying channels. So we're not the only one up there.
No, we're the only channel, but there's a lot of videos. Oh, you know what?
well.
Maybe it's the skewed search results that I'm getting right now because I am consume content. All right, let's go to TikTok, right? And we're not showing these on screen.
Oh, all right. Josh is showing his inexperience. He's looking up TikTok on a computer.
Hey, I just need to look up the name, okay? I should be logged in on the computer
Yeah, but
where we upload
I think,
from. It's
I think as a rule,
It's consume_content, and there's a very stupid capture here with a puzzle piece. There we go. We have 8 followers.
I'm one of them.
Well, yeah, you're one of them. I didn't realize we had 8 followers. Wait,
Well, there you
that
go.
doesn't make sense. That can't be right. It says we're following 21. I have 8 followers. Oh, no. Hold on. Yeah, that makes sense. They're bots. They're all bots. The other 7 are bots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I'm remembering the notifications now.
who are you following? It's your account.
It
That
is
means
my
you had to follow 21 people.
I followed 21 people. Let me look this up. So, following.
Why did you follow 21 people?
It's too loud. Okay.
We need a soundboard.
All right. Doesn't look like there's any looping audio, so all good. So because I'm not recording desktop audio, thank God. Okay. And so I'm following.
No, I heard it.
Yeah, I know you heard it. I'm following this one chick who's a lawyer, very funny. I follow a couple millionaires who I used to think sounded smart, I used to. And then a lot of like a couple comedians, and then a lot of like a few marketing people. And this guy from the Daily Show.
Basically, it's the account you use for TikTok.
Yeah, it's the account I use for TikTok. It's my
okay.
I use it. I'm already logged in, so I just use it, right? And it's
You're gonna.
I don't have
That's
an
a
excuse.
recipe for disaster.
It is a recipe for disaster. Just one wrong like.
Yeah, you're gonna like a video of monkeys doing weird poop stuff, and
That's
it all
you.
goes downhill.
How dare you? That is not me. That is
do you mean
That is entirely you.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
That's entirely you. I don't look for that. That doesn't come up on my.
You
I
don't
feel like I
understand
have to,
TikTok. Then it's not about what you look for. It's just what happens. TikTok happens to you. You don't do TikTok.
You don't do TikTok. Well, guess what? We're 9 minutes in. We haven't even started talking about anything that this podcast was related to. Well, we are talking about
the
content on
podcast.
TikTok, but it's
Anyway,
tangentially related, if that's the correct word. I'm ready for your list, Matt.
back when I talked about Ted Lasso, we mentioned some Apple TV Plus shows.
Uh-huh.
And I mentioned Severance, and I know you haven't seen Severance. Mm-hmm. So that's one. That's a contender.
I keep hearing that on the radio because it's been nominated
Almost as much as Ted Lasso.
almost as much as Ted Lasso.
How about a little Netflix show called Shadow and Bone?
I've heard of it. I think I've passed up on it. What else do you got? We might do Shadow and Bone. What else you got?
iZombie. Did you ever watch iZombie?
I watched the first couple episodes. I am a fan. I'm very partial to murder mysteries. I love them. I love the procedural cop show.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd call it a procedural cop show
Yeah.
with a gimmick.
It's
I
not
wouldn't
much of
call
a
it
mystery. Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, I guess there is. Yeah, no, it's not really mystery. I wouldn't call it mystery.
Have you seen Columbo?
We talked about it
Have we seen
on the podcast.
Not at
I'm
length,
pretty
though.
sure it was.
No, I think
There was some length. You described it to me.
What did I? No, okay, we're not talking about Columbo because I'm confident we haven't talked about Columbo. We're only 5 episodes in. There's no way I've already forgotten what I've spoken about on this podcast.
Well, you forgot that we talked about Columbo. It might have been offline, but still,
I think so.
we talked about it.
I had a whole Columbo binge. I'm a sucker for cop shows.
I know.
I'm a sucker for cop
Aren't we
shows.
all?
All right, so
I know that you also mentioned
Mm-hmm.
you were curious about someone selling you on reality shows.
okay,
So I have a couple of those in the chamber. There's
Yeah.
there's a few I watched all the way through. So let me know if you want to hear those or go down that route.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch that new movie, The Gray Man?
I did watch that.
That was pretty good.
It was all right.
Did you watch the new movie, Day Shift, with Jamie Foxx?
I've
The
not seen that yet.
Vampire Slayer.
I've not seen
Well,
that.
that is. I guess I can't really mention new stuff because it's like, yeah, you might not have had a chance to watch it yet. Anyway, that was pretty good.
Was it? Okay. Because I might watch it just because someone pointed out an Easter egg early in the movie when they go into the Vampire Hunters Union, and then there's a portrait of Abraham Lincoln and 2 axes. And it's a reference to Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter,
Vampire.
which is a
yeah.
book I've actually read. Like, I actually read that book before the movie came out.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It's just surprising because I don't read. I'm not a big reader, right?
Oh.
And I'm not a big reader, but that book was like,
Well then.
it was just enough of a gimmick for me to like read the book, and then the movie came out, and I'm like, none of this shit was in the book.
Well, speaking of, I'm gonna jump around on my list then. Well, I should call out that is a very big part of Shadow and Bone, the conversation I can have about Shadow and Bone, because it's a book series
Okay.
of which I've read all of it, just not the spin-offs. I wrote down Ready Player One, the book, specifically the book.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't bring up the movie on this show and say like, no, I want to talk this up. I gotta convince people to go see it. I wouldn't do that, but I would talk up the book, so that's an option. And I'm positive you've seen The Witcher.
Yes.
I don't know how much of The Witcher books you've read, though.
I've not read any of the books. I've barely played any of the games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
barely.
Maybe, yeah, that's kind of a tough one, because it's a lot of books, and then there's also the games. That's a whole multimedia experience.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do more research, but I have more. But what do you think? You anything standing out to you so far?
Let's do Shadow and Bone. You seem excited about Shadow and Bone.
Oh yeah, that was up at the top.
Okay, let's do Shadow and
So,
Bone.
Josh,
Yes.
tell me what you know about Shadow and Bone.
I don't know a goddamn thing about Shadow and Bone.
You know, you must know something.
No, I don't know anything. I don't remember. I remember the I remember the font of the title, and it looking like, some sort of like Scholastic Book Fair font. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay, so we have Scholastic Book Fair font.
I don't know. It
That's
looked like some sort of like middle school level cover art, like book cover art for like a graphic novel. I don't know. All right, I'm thinking of like Lock and Key, maybe that's the one I'm thinking
Interesting. I mean, that's another Netflix show, and it's, I guess, it would definitely fit under kind of like young adult novel, young adult fantasy, for sure. But yes, it's a show that came out on Netflix last year. I'm pretty positive it was 2021.
Really? Is that recent?
It's pretty recent. Maybe it was 2020. I'm pretty sure it was pandemic. God damn, we have to refer to it as its own time period. We're gauging time based on pandemic or no pandemic.
I mean, we're still in it technically, but yeah.
But it's like, yeah, if it came out around then it's
As
like
of
I'm
this
pretty sure it was during pandemic.
Yeah. Mid pandemic.
But I think it was closer to the beginning. Anyway, I like you.
Mm-hmm.
Sad boy was hopelessly deprived of any knowledge of this IP.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out on Netflix. My fiance and I, girlfriend at the time, pre-fiance, we'll call her.
Quit bragging. All right.
You got a cat?
What do you mean? I got a cat.
Oh, sorry. You have 4 cats. You have 3 and a visitor. You have 6. You have 5 and a visitor. That equals a girl, right?
No, not at all.
You can watch TV with them, can't you?
They don't want to watch TV with me.
If you put treats on the bed, they will.
No. They go find another spot. It doesn't matter. I'm not gonna get into the logistics of where my cats hang out. Right? You can't just tell a guy who goes quit bragging about your fiance and goes, you got a cat. That's not the same thing.
I mean, there was a cat walking by in the background, so I was like, you got a cat? This is a cat.
Great.
I could have said you got your grandma.
Got my grandma. You could. Oh, okay, great.
She walked. I saw her. She was there. It was but we probably spend most of our time that we're just not busy at home watching TV. We find shows we like and we watch them together. And that one had just come out, so we wasted no time. We watched it probably like that weekend that it came out, and we binged it. And we've been known to do that before with other shows, but we just powered through the whole thing, I think, in a few days. And we loved the shit out of it. It was so good. We kept talking it up to all of our friends, and nobody was watching it. I'm pretty sure to this day, like, hardly anyone's watched it. I'm a little worried. I'm pretty sure it got cleared for another season, but maybe not. But either way, it was... We really liked it, and we would tell everyone we knew. It's like, oh, you should check out that show. It's actually really good. And again, neither of us had any previous experience with it. See, you got a cat.
Yeah, I got a cat, but keep talking.
Hey, don't grab her like that. What are you doing?
Why
That
not?
That one's not even yours.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. It's not my cat.
She got sauce under her chin from eating out of the can.
But the show, eventually, after a while, there's a whole story. All right, now I got another story. So I ate this huge ass burger.
Oh my god!
Then the next morning,
did it float again?
Can you honestly tell me if your poop floats?
Sometimes
you feel
maybe.
like it's normal.
I never notice. The only time
Josh,
I look in the bowl. The
Why
only
are you
time
talking about poop?
I don't look in the bowl all that often. I only look in the bowl if it's been a while and I don't remember if I flushed. Like it's.
All right, I think we had. I don't know.
I feel okay.
Should we make it that kind of podcast?
Look, this podcast will turn into whatever it wants to be. All right, it just whatever works. Look, I feel like I have to sort of explain how I poop versus other people poop.
No, okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop you there. Let's move on. We'll
Okay,
get back
not
to that.
pooping. I'm not going to describe my pooping. I'm just saying I have to
You're
flush.
gonna describe your squeezing.
No, not my squeeze. I have to flush every now and again, so that way I don't clog the toilet. Do you understand? That's the only time. Like sometimes, like I'll poop, I'll flush, and I won't be done. And so I might not be
Get
done.
a bigger toilet.
I just get a bigger toilet. I got a big toilet.
Do it
They
in the
don't make
litter
them
box.
bigger. They don't make them bigger. All right.
They do.
Not for an average folks like me. I got big toilets in this house. All right?
Anyway, we watched the show and we loved it, and eventually, my pre-fiance at the time, she, at her job, they all decided to start a book club. They wanted to read a book and talk about it. And they decided, like, Serena is my fiance. She said, yeah, we really liked this Shadow and Bone show. We should read the book. And some of the other, her coworkers had heard of it too. Anyway, they started this book club to read the book. And so she bought all 3 books because the main series is 3 books. And to this day, this was months ago, none of them had read the book, the first book, which they were supposed to. I read all three of them.
You read all three of okay.
I decided, I was like, well, I wanted to read along with them. I wasn't going to be in the book club, but I was like, yeah, I mean, I read every once in a while. I'll read them. And I got into them, and we had all the books already, so I read them all. I loved them. It's a very good book. But yeah, no, the show and the book, both very solid. I'm hoping they can keep the same spirit if they continue the show. I don't even know if they did greenlight another season. I hope they did. But either way, the books are great. It is a kind of a dark fantasy, like young adult story.
Okay. What do you mean by young adult? Right? Are we talking about Twilight? Or are we talking about like Divergent?
I'm afraid. Oh, I see. Well, I mean, those are both considered young adult.
Yeah, but like they're both considered young adult, but one's like dystopian future, the other one's sort of like romantic power fantasy. I mean, both are romantic power fantasy.
I think it's both.
You think it's both?
Fuck me, I think it's both.
Okay. I was about to say both of them are romantic, like both Twilight and
but obviously
romantic power fantasies, but one's
Twilight
like
focuses way more on the romance.
The romance, yeah.
Romance, yes.
Romance.
Don't wiggle your half Mexican tongue at me. I didn't even hear that one. I just saw you making a face.
You'll hear it on the final recording.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
there you go.
All right, so
for somehow, yeah, you kind of described two similar series.
Yeah,
there's not. I guess it's much more like Divergent. It's much more about the plot, the conflict, than it is about romance. There is actually, yeah. So there's not a huge focus on romance, but the main character, Alina Starkov, is. I don't think they ever give her an age, but like a girl in her 20s. I'm assuming
that's a very protagonistic name. What's that name again?
Alina Starkov.
That is super main character. Super main character. That's corny.
Very much so. And you want to know what her male companion's name is?
What's his name?
Actually, I gotta look it up.
Okay, not memorable. Makes sense. Main hero.
Well,
main love interest is almost never memorable.
No. I know his nickname, but he has a full name, and I want to.
Okay. Is it something embarrassing?
No.
I don't know.
Malian Oretsev. So he goes by Mal. So this is one thing that I still don't understand. Oh, and by the way, the universe, I see it in this link I saw when I looked it up. The universe in the story, it's called the Grisha-verse. You know how like a lot of times a story will get like its own term.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like Middle Earth or whatnot.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But this is talking about, in a meta sense, like talking about this IP, about this universe. It's called the Grisha-verse because the main component, the main fantasy kind of driving force of this this whole story is that it's about humans. So these are human people, but it's basically X-Men. A fraction of them have powers. They're just born naturally with certain powers.
Makes sense.
And I mean, there's been other shows and stories like this, but it's there's only a certain number of powers that are given, and then there are multiple people who get those certain powers. Like some of them control the elements, so like people control fire, wind, water, I think. Yeah, water. And then some of them, I forget all the names they had. They had all these special names for all these different categories of these Grisha, because they're all called Grisha.
Yeah.
But there was ones who could heal you, or stop your heart, or manipulate your not your hormones, but kind of do kind of like a mind reading, stuff like that. There was people relating to the body. Then there were other ones too. Yeah,
You're filling out the YA novel ad lib, and it's great so far. You got it's more. It sounds like more Divergent than. Well, I suppose Twilight just uses like vampire lore and monster lore in order to fill that.
Yeah,
that sort of nerd gap.
You kind of get why I called it a young adult series, right?
Yeah.
Because it's very much so fits that niche. It's like the characters are in that age range, and then they're thrown into like this dark universe, this conflict. Also, so I read the books, right? And you know, at the end sometimes there's like information about the author. That's basically all I know about her. I'm trying to find her name, but I don't think she's written other books, but nothing like as big as this series. But I don't think she's Russian. Maybe she is, and her name just doesn't sound that Russian. But I say that because, as you kind of heard from the names I gave you of those two characters, there's like very heavy Russian influence, at least in like the naming and kind of also the political structure they have there. There are these really heavy Russian influences, and I don't get why. It doesn't really play out to anything. Maybe I just don't know that much about Russian history or Russian politics to spot those things in the story, because in the show you don't really pick up on much of that. It's, you know, just the names, and then I don't know, some of the conflict maybe is familiar for someone who's Russian, but Leigh Bardugo, that doesn't sound that Russian.
No, I don't know anything about Russians.
That's the thing. Anyway, it doesn't. You don't need to know a thing about Russia to you know, get the story, to watch the show. But it's just every name seems to have something to do with Russia. But either way, the show was great, and that was kind of the world they throw it into. And it's a completely different world. It's not set, you know, in Europe, like Eastern Europe or anything. It's a totally different landscape, and it's got the whole map, and it's different countries, and like there's this main country where most of the characters are centered in, and Alina, the main character, actually starts off, she's in the army, the infantry of this like country that they live in, and she actually, I don't know, well, she's obviously the main character, but I don't want to give anything away. Something big happens. You know, there's a big hook in the first episode and early in the first book. I don't want to. I don't know if I want to give away that hook.
No, don't give it away. Don't
give
it away.
But you know, there's a lot that happens pretty early on. And yeah, so there's all those people, the Grisha with powers, that kind of shapes the hierarchy of the country, you know, just politics, and I guess, like I said before, it's very X-Men. Not that it's a metaphor or an allegory for like you know, racism, civil rights,
civil rights or racism and whatnot.
That there's still elements there. Because that's where a lot of the power struggle lies, is just the fact that there are these people. There's much less of them than just the regular townspeople of the country, whatever, and other lands. But you do also see little bits of these other neighboring countries where they have even their own policies on Grisha. Some of which are very negative. Like most of them just end up getting killed off or having to go into hiding or escape to the main country that is featured in the book because of anti-Grisha sentiment, because of the racism. But yeah, they start you off. Go ahead, please ask me.
So we've established how it's exactly like a YA novel, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say YA novels are bad, right? Am I saying that? No, I'm not saying that. But
tread lightly.
I am treading.
What's the problem? Are you not a young adult anymore?
I'm not a young adult anymore. I'm 28, gonna be 29. I'm not.
The secret is
what?
As long as you're not collecting Social Security, you're still a young adult. You still have that mindset where you can enjoy a young adult novel.
Nice. I'm gonna ignore that. I'm gonna.
You read the book and tell me otherwise. Go ahead.
I'm sure it's a good book. Actually, I'm not sure, but tell me, because I don't want to go with a generic question over like what makes it unique, but I sort of do want to know, right? Like, what's sticky about the show? You mentioned a big hook, and obviously I don't want I don't want you to spoil anything, right? But like, what if you can like name an aspect of it that got you to keep watching? Because like if we talk about like shows, right? This is a show, and what gets you watching, let's say episode 1 to episode 2 of The Walking Dead, is sort of like what's gonna happen next. Sort of like I'm emotionally invested in Rick Grimes, you know, and I really want to see him reunite with his family, and so that's why I'm gonna go from episode 1 to episode 2. Like, but I'm specifically citing that sort of like emotional bond you develop with that character. What specifically is in like Skull and Bone? Does Skull and Bone have that, like characters you care about? I mean, I would hope so.
What the hell is Skull and Bone?
Sorry, what's it called again?
Shadow and Bone.
Shadow and Bone. I'm pretty sure I've called it.
If you watched the show, you'd understand why. Didn't you do this shit to me?
I did.
You started giving me shit because I hadn't watched the show, but that was the point. You watched the show when you were talking to me about it?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But I got the name wrong.
This is why you have to flush multiple times. It's karma.
It's karma. It's because I'm full of shit.
This is why you have small toilets.
Oh my god.
I get what you're saying.
I don't have small toilets. I have large toilets and large bowels. Like it's just...
Next time, I need to come over to your place again because I need to. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna
You're
measure
gonna
it and compare
my
against
toilets.
my toilet. I never have that problem with my toilets. I bet yours are small.
It's not a problem with toilet size. All right, believe me. It's just almost every toilet.
It's because you're full of shit.
I am full of shit. I eat too much, and I poop too much, and it's.
Why is this a poop podcast?
It's not a poop podcast, but I don't know how we got back onto this. All right? I just wanted to ask you why the show is good in a smart and intelligent way.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to remember the name Poop Podcast way more than consume content.
Oh, no. I don't want a podcast about bowel movements. I will say... the only
BMs
toilets...
if it makes you more comfortable.
I will say that it has less to do with the size of the toilet and more to do with sort of the power at which it sucks everything in. Like the higher flow toilets that are like scary.
What was that noise?
Don't worry about it. All right? No, don't worry about it. So
I'm only getting like half of it.
I know you're only getting half of it.
It sounds like you're choking.
But what makes... I don't want to say what makes the show unique, but that's what I'm asking.
I get what you're saying. I hate the fact that you call it sticky, but it is a good descriptive word to...
Look, you hate all that stuff.
What?
You hate... Every time I say something like that, you're like, sticky or gross or poop. You're just like, ugh, gross. Oh. And then I come over to your place, and I have to play a game about where I play as a literal... disembodied penis, living in a disembodied penis world with a disembodied penis 9-to-5 job. What's the name of that game?
We're not gonna go there.
What's the name of that game, Matt?
We're not gonna go there.
What's the name?
How
of
do
that
you
game?
know it's a disembodied penis?
How do you know? There's no body. There's just the penis. How do you
know the penis? How do you know we're not just basically penises with a whole bunch of extra stuff attached to it?
Dick. That game you play is a dick, balls, and anus. That's all it is. Dick, ball, and anus. That's all it is.
I'm not going to tell you the name of the game, but this weekend I might go genital jousting.
Okay.
Anyway, I get what you're asking about the show.
Uh-huh.
They pull their wieners out and they have to fight each other.
Uh-huh. With their wieners.
With the wieners.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really like an easy answer. Well, no, the answers are too easy, I should say. Okay. It is pretty formulaic.
They just do it right then.
Indicative of like a made formula show. Yeah, they do it right. They hook you. Well, I forget how long the episodes are. I can just look it up. But
I sort of find that really
first
annoying when trying to sell somebody on a show and you're just like, it's great for these reasons, and it just sounds generic. But I'm like, but no, it's really good because they do it really well. So that's what you're telling me. You're telling me they stick to the formula, the YA formula for the most part, and they just do it really well.
They are hour-long episodes.
Okay.
48 to 52 minutes. So I think that what I was going to say is the attractive feature of it, the thing that sucked us in for sure, is they did a fantastic job throwing you in, just starting you in cold on this world. I think there is a tiny bit of voiceover. Just in Alina, the main character, she narrates a little bit. And this is just a guess. This is just me vaguely recalling because it's been a while since I saw the show. I think she leads you in with a little narration describing the world, because there is, their country and there's a war, and that's why she's a soldier, and she's introducing you to that. But there's a big tear. There's like this giant wall of shadow right in the middle of the country she lives in. It's called the Fold. And it's literally just the gigantic drape, a mountain-sized just line of shadow. And if you dare to cross it, you'll most likely die. There's monsters, literal monsters inside of it, and no light passes through. You can't look into it. It's just this giant wall of shadow. And that's kind of the big feature of this world. And it gets into why it's there, like what it is and all that. But I think the show, that first episode, the pilot, does a great job. I guess it's not a pilot. They were already cleared for the show. It's not like a network show. But it threw you in, and you start off following Alina. She's talking a little bit about the world, and she's just a cartographer, just a map drawer for the army, and she works in her unit, and she's got this thing going with this old friend of hers from when, at the orphanage, her buddy Mal. And Mal's like this other soldier, but he's not an artist. He's just dumb boots on the ground soldier guy, but he's so dreamy and all the girls like him, and she's a little jealous, even though they had their chance and they never got together. There's just this little bit of romance, but it's really not about that.
God, that took such a turn so quickly. It's like they're on a battlefield. There's a Pacific Rim style menace going on right here. But her old friend, he's dreamy.
Well, he is. And then also Ben Barnes is in the show. I was looking at the main cast. Alina is played by Jessica May Lee. Jessie May Lee. I don't know her in anything else, but she did a great job. I'm assuming Mal, the love interest, the guy,
how do you spell May Lee?
MEI space LI.
Okay, May Lee. Jessie May Lee. Okay, and then who did you say else? Ben what?
Ben Barnes. He's probably the biggest name in the show. Ben Barnes. Because you'll definitely recognize him.
Oh, Ben Barnes, that guy. That's right.
He's the guy from Narnia.
People don't remember him from Narnia.
That's the only place people remember him from.
No, people don't remember him from Narnia. I didn't even know that was him.
Like, what do you mean? That's the first thing he was in.
It was the first thing he was in, and I didn't remember him from that at all.
Everyone remembered him in Narnia.
He was in
he's Prince Caspian. No, I think he's in Prince Caspian. I forget what his character's name is.
He is Prince Caspian, isn't he?
Is he? Yeah, he is. Okay.
He's Prince Caspian. Yeah, I'm reading it right here. Best known for his roles, Prince Caspian in Chronicles of Narnia films.
What was that? Those first two words you just read right now? What were the first two words?
I didn't recognize him. All right, because you know why? Because I noticed him in Westworld. The next thing mentioned. You understand? He was in Westworld, right? Minor character in there.
I forgot he was in Westworld, but
also,
I love Westworld.
He plays Billy Russo, Jigsaw, in the Marvel series The Punisher.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He plays, was good in that, too. The Punisher was great.
Excellent in that show, both seasons of it. He's excellent, right? He's sort of generic in the first season. Not him. His character is sort of like a generic, like, military guy, but he's friends with the Punisher. Ooh, that makes it interesting. And
Oh
then
yeah.
season 2, he's a changed man. He's a villain now, sort
Well,
of.
yeah.
Kind of is he? Do you hate him? He's ruthless. It's great. But anyway,
If you're that pretty and you get that taken away from you, come on.
that's true. It says here he's the Darkling in Netflix series Shadow and Bone.
That's right.
He's the
That
Darkling.
he
Okay.
is.
All right.
And
then who's the Dreamboat?
well, no, I've just oversold him. He's fine. I just don't know if he's in anything else.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna tell you.
Archie Reno.
Archie. What?
Archie Reno. Renaux.
Let's see here. Is he dream? This is a terrible photo.
Oh boy.
I pulled up a photo. Hold on, let me see if I can bring up this photo. This is a terrible, terrible photo. I don't know if you can see it, Matt, but I'm gonna show the audience.
I mean, what did you look up?
I just
Google
looked
his
him up.
name?
I just Googled his name, and Wikipedia has a terrible photo of him. This is not dreamy at all, right? Let's see here. Images. Okay. I see it.
Oh yeah.
Yep,
That's
I
not
see
what
it.
he looks like.
No. It's a bad look. That's a bad photo, right? Some of these other photos make a lot more sense. Like, let's see here. I don't know what he is in this show, right? Hold on. But like, look. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You're showing all these pictures on the video, right?
I am.
Well, also the fact is we got to describe them if we're going to talk about them.
Yeah. So like, he looks much better in obviously in the things he's been in, you know. And so
yeah, but
I don't know if
anyway.
he's dreamy. These photos don't.
I was just characterizing how he's described.
Okay, but you
I
know
was
what?
Characterizing him.
I'm looking at this screenshot from Skull and Bone. I think, not Skull
What's
and
the
Bone.
show?
Shadow and Bone. I'm looking at it. Yeah, it looks good.
We're talking about Shadow and Bone on the
Shadow
Poop
and Bone.
podcast.
And I think he's well casted. He looks like a young
Yeah.
soldier. He looks like a young soldier.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say he's dreamy, but
I mean,
I think he looks like good
no,
casting to me.
But that's also part of his story. His and Alina's. They've basically they've known each other and been friends since they were small children. They're both orphans. They both grew up at the same orphanage, and that's how they know each other. And at some point, they split up because, they became adults and just joined the army because it's basically, I don't know, pre-industrial. I guess Russia, I'd have to call it because
I
there's
mean,
so
this
many
looks like Industrial
Russian
Revolution.
callbacks.
Yeah, or it looks like
Yeah.
World War One. So that would
It's
be
very much that era. The
Yeah.
soldiers, if you're looking at them, and but also because of how this world is different, there is literal magic. People can shoot fire from their hands and stuff. It's kind of like Legend of Korra.
yeah.
They pushed that industrial revolution really quick, but they also they still rely on people who have these abilities. That's also kind of a similar vibe here. There's this whole royal family. There's a king of this kingdom, and he rules from this palace, the capital city, but there's still this war going on, and these two characters are soldiers in this war, coming from the rest of the country, which is just a shit pile. They grew up in an orphanage, and it's not a unique setting. There's been lots of stories that start that way.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. I'm looking at some of these screenshots, right, from the show, and you can't see them, right? But you can't see them because I'm not showing them to you. But I'm showing the audience essentially, right?
Okay.
This girl looks absolutely puny. Please tell me someone teaches her how to fight at some point.
Who the
main girl?
character?
Yeah, the main girl.
Yeah, there's a whole montage about it.
Okay. Does she put on any muscle? Is my question because.
Of course not.
Okay, what's her role? You said she's a cartographer. What does she move into? Because the whole big thing is that there's something special about her. Or is that the twist? There's nothing special about her. Or is there something special about her?
There are qualities worth mentioning, sure.
I mean, like magical plot qualities, right? Like Belle becomes a vampire. She's the spot of affection for this vampire, or Bella, whatever the fuck her name is. And then the main chick from Divert, Shailene Woodley. She's
Shailene.
Is it Shaylee or Shailene? I don't know.
Shailene. I want you to describe Twilight to me without looking it up at all.
I can describe
Twilight just on what you recall.
Just what I recall, just what I know. There's a girl. She goes to high school.
Quiz.
She goes to a high school.
No, not right now. Not right now.
What do you mean not right now? Why not?
Another episode.
All right. She's in the Pacific Northwest. There's vampires there. She meets a dreamy vampire, right? Who
Name
glitters.
one of the vampires who isn't Edward.
Who isn't Edward? Klaus? No, I think he's from the originals. Or Vampire Diaries. Anyway.
You remember Vampire Diaries?
No, I don't remember
Vampire.
I don't remember Vampire Diaries either. All right, that's like fucking. I only made it maybe 4 or 5 seasons through that show. Too many doppelgangers.
Only
too
4
many
or 5
doppelgangers.
Seasons.
All right,
it's a show. TV shows do that.
It's a TV show.
CW, right?
CW. It's CW. Look, I want people to know I'm not biased against YA content or YA novels. Okay. I just told you, I've seen 4 to 5 seasons of the Vampire Diaries. Did I watch the originals? No. Those characters were dickbags. They didn't deserve their own spin-off. Whatever. Anyway. I'm explaining my impartiality as a judge and as a critic to this. But basically, what is her... You don't have to tell me the power, but basically, specifically, give me like a character class. She goes from cartographer to what? Spellcaster? What? Where does she go to?
Sure. Well,
sure. Give me a little bit more of that, because she looks scrawny as hell.
She goes from well, why is that what you're hung up on? She goes from not important to very important.
Okay, why is
she's the main character?
She's the main character. Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you?
Don't give me everything. I just want to know, like, does she kick ass? Like,
oh yeah.
Okay, she kicks ass. All right, that's all I needed to know. Really, it's just like
you're not gonna see like her holding a grown man above her head, biceps bulging, but yeah, no, she kicks ass, sure.
And I mean literally, does she kick ass? Does like I don't mean like figuratively. It's like, oh no, she saved the day in that political conference. I mean like, does she like blow people up and shit, or is it all about peace? Does she kill?
She blows people up.
She blows people up. Okay. All right. I'm in. All right. I think I'm in. If she blows people up. All right.
I think, yeah. No, I mean, it's not shy about violence. It's not a gory, it's not The Boys, it's just gore for the hell of it. Not for the hell of it, but,
I'm just saying, Shailene Woodley killed a few
degree.
people. Shailene Woodley killed a few people in those movies.
And this show is equally dark. Like, it definitely gets to that point. There are desperate moments. It's all about survival a lot of the time. And that's kind of those are the strengths. I think that's a big part of it. It's not just some happy princess story, rags to riches. It is that, but it's a very dirty path there.
Good. That's what I like.
There's definitely, I'm pretty sure it's either right in the first episode or maybe it's directly after in the second episode, but people are fighting and dying, like a bloody battle pretty early on. And not pretty bloody, but, fighting. It's a Netflix show.
It's a Netflix show. It's fantasy. There's not going to be too much blood.
I will say, though, one thing I was confused by is the first season, so the Netflix show, everything that's out right now, it's not just the first book. The timeline is very much the first book, but there's not enough content in the first book for the whole season, because it's, 8 episodes? Mm-hmm. It's 8 episodes, each one about an hour, which is a lot of content. Leigh Bardugo, the author, actually wrote kind of a spin-off book. I forget what they're called when it's a book, but a book in the same universe. And she took, or the show makers, Netflix took the characters and most of the story from one of her spin-off books and cut that into this first season of the show. The book, Shadow and Bone, the very first book, exclusively follows this main character, Alina, but the show filled it in with characters from this other book that the author wrote.
Okay.
So there's more stories to follow, and I think that'll appeal to you as well as a lot of people. It's just like extra characters, because I mean, I know it's your pushback and you having to confirm that you're not completely against young adult fiction. I think that'll help ease the blow. It's not just some starry-eyed romance. There's fighting, there's conflict.
I'm not saying I don't appreciate the starry-eyed romance. I'm just saying I want the whole thing. I want the Hunger Games.
You want the whole pizza pie.
I want the love triangle and the political revolution at the same time. Gotta give me the whole YA experience. I'm just asking to make sure it's there. So
and I think that's why I was excited to talk about the show, and also why I liked it so much. It does have all of those elements. It is pretty well rounded.
Okay. All right, that's good. What other questions? I mean, I already wrote it down. I'm looking for something else to watch right now. I'm pretty much caught up on the Orville, so.
We're not talking about the Orville.
We're not talking about the Orville again. I'm just saying I'm caught up.
I'd rather talk about Dix.
You rather talk about Dix? Well, speaking of Dix in the Orville, no,
God.
Look, I'm just saying Orville sometimes makes me teary. Makes me teary more than Star Trek ever did. All right, is that true? Anyway, moving on. I think I will give this a watch. Just because I like
try
fantasy.
the first episode.
Yeah.
Try the first episode.
I like fantasy. I like World War I themed. I vaguely know Russian people.
It's so weird. That's really what stands out to me is like there's this really like aesthetic and also written element to the story where it's like relies on this Russian.
What makes it Russian? Give me the
Winter Palace. Just the characters. Just the character names, the way they made the show look. I think I read a description once of the show or the book or something, and it said something like about Russian influences. I don't know. The author is just. I think I just saw right now. The author is Israeli, so I don't understand where it's coming from.
I think it's fine. It's the Japanese have the weirdest fascination when they write when the Japanese write fantasy. They have the weirdest fascination with Germany. That's not a joke.
Well, but I mean, there's like instantly like reasons why I might think why that is.
Or maybe that was just a phase in anime's history. I don't know. There was a phase where like almost every fantasy anime had some sort of like German word in it for like Jaeger or whatever. I don't know. They sort of went hand in hand for a brief period in time. I could be full of shit again. But yeah, sometimes writers just like really like another country's folklore and whatnot. I remember when I was, still taking writing classes, I did some of that. Like I wanted to, what did I want? I don't remember, but I love World War II themed. It's such a gritty time. Such a gritty time to be like. It was like it was sort of like the death of chivalry, like the actual death of chivalry in World War I, where I don't mean it in the sense of like, between men and women. I mean like I saw a movie, I forgot what it was called, but it's about this whole town of British people, right? They signed up to go to the war, the Great War, and they go into battle, they lose, they're captured, and the officer in charge, and a lot of these boys, if not all of them, are all from the same town. The officer, this older portly man, talks about like, okay, now you'll hold this prisoner. These are our demands for when you hold this prisoner. We would like to send communications back, let them know what's happened, or if you can inform, blah, blah, blah. I forget what the exact ask was. But basically, the guy was like, no, you're not making it out of here alive. And so, the drama, I'm surmising, I'm paraphrasing, right? But basically it was And again, this is the contrast. I feel like this was like, but we're soldiers. There's rules of engagement. He goes like, we don't have the resources to keep you alive. I'm not fucking feeding you meals when I don't have enough meals for my men. So I'm just gonna put a bullet in each one of you, and call it a day, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so
I know the period you're talking about, because I mean you think about like the Revolutionary War,
yeah,
and
so,
it's like their camps are literally right next to each other, and then the next morning it's like, all right, at sunrise we fight.
exactly, like they literally wait till sunrise to fight. Like I remember, what was I watching where they're like, and we'll attack them while they sleep, and then they're like, they're attacking us while we sleep, those bastards. Like it was like there was some sort of like, at least there was like, I would say like, because there's always like the perception of chivalry of those like older wars, right? We're just like, we're gonna go out, we're gonna meet them, and we're gonna fight until one of us gives up, and then the person who doesn't surrender is the winner. And that's pretty much how most ancient warfare was fought. But again, the reality was that like, you killed a bunch of people died regardless. It was war, right? But then to say that like,
Yeah.
World War I was just somehow even more cruel, and because it was mechanized, it was even colder and more efficient in its killings. It was weird. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying right now, but basically, it was. I'm saying it's weird to say I like World War One. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not a great opinion to have. It was like, World War II is my favorite war. Thank you, Phil Hartman from the movie Toy Soldiers. Anyway, have you ever seen Toy Soldiers? That's a tangent. We're not going to get on a tangent.
Yeah. Well,
I'm rambling if you haven't
that's
noticed.
why we're here.
Yeah, but
Yes, I've seen Toy Soldiers.
you have seen. Yeah, Phil Hartman. He's in that movie. He plays the loud, obnoxious neighbor, right? And he has this line.
Oh yeah, I forgot that actor's name. He was the one in Jingle All the Way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
These are some lovely cookies. Like, you know, it's fucking. He just had a special cadence in his voice.
Do Arnold now.
Put the cookie down. You know, it's like, you know that. It's great line, great scene.
Those are my cookies. What was it? He's in my house eating my cookies. That was a good movie.
It was a good movie. It's a ridiculous movie. Oh my god. Not a lot of
Toy Soldiers though. I know you live in LA County. I'm in Orange County, but right up the street from me, like really, it's just one city over. They filmed the street corner where the toy store was.
Oh, okay.
I found that out recently. I thought it was cool. I was like, hey, I kind of remember
cool.
that. It's like the orange circle.
I don't know if I should add Toy Soldiers to the list. It is an interesting movie. Definitely something I watched too much as a kid. Because I had it on VHS.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. But Phil Hartman has a line in it. World War II is my favorite war. Like, it's...
Yeah, I know.
What a terrible line. Like, you don't think it's funny as a kid. But then when you think about it, it's like, oh... What a terrible opinion to have. To have a favorite war.
What's wrong with that? You can have a favorite war. No, I get it. I know what you mean.
We don't have to go over it. But I'm basically saying the same thing. Like it's weird to like I love the thematic elements of World War I in a show. And it's just like, oh,
they're like recently post-industrial era.
Yeah, World War I.
And then when you throw in magic, you're basically getting steampunk.
Yeah, basically, which I'm not usually a fan of. Like you have to sugarcoat the steampunk for me. If I see goggles, I'm out. Just like, get rid of them.
Are there goggles? I don't think there's goggles. It's magic.
It's magic.
They don't need the goggles because they got magic.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. Just don't give me them goggles.
They basically... I love the Avatar series, so I'll just bring it up again. But basically, like I was saying, there's elementals. Like there's Grisha who have wind powers. You see them on boats, on ships, and they don't need wind. They have the people to just blow the ships forward.
Oh yeah, okay, that is a lot like
That
Avatar.
that kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
that's
extremely
there's
practical.
obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's obviously much more to it, but yeah, they're in a
Mm-hmm.
war, and the Grisha are part of it. There's, they make use of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the defining characteristic of the main country, which I now remember is called Ravka,
Mm-hmm.
which I also looked up is the country, the location of the story is Russia inspired. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just the geography, not specifically, but just kind of the overall like the topography, the landscape. That's all Russia inspired, as well as characters. And I mean the way they show the palace is very like Winter Palace, Catherine the Great kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Giant hallways, big pillars, and glass roofs, that kind of thing. Roofs.
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 Okay, so I'm just gonna say I'm sold because I do need something else to watch. I think I might watch the first episode tonight,
Give
just
it a try.
because
Definitely.
that is something I'm interested in. But you are reminded with all this talk of Russia. I just remembered a little,
Putin?
a little. No, I don't.
Ukraine?
No, I just remembered
Oil?
Yes, no, I just remembered a anime that I'm adding to the list now. Golden Kamuy. Have you ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about that next time. All right.
My anime game is still weak, but I am doing better. I'm catching up on some old stuff and watching some. I'm hitting all the big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much on Attack on Titan, so I'm waiting for the last half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm caught up. Well, if anyone has spotted it, I'm very much caught up on Demon Slayer. Very on board with that.
Very good show. Very good anime. Very good manga. Love it. Do you think they're gonna go past? Because the manga does end. Did they reboot it?
I haven't read any of the manga.
Because the manga has sort of like a definitive ending. I hope
I don't
they
know
sort
anything
of.
about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't you spoil anything.
I'm not gonna
for me.
spoil anything. All right. I don't even remember anything really, but it's a wonderful anime and manga, and I sort of like that it ends, but it's a shonen anime. It can go on forever, and
I'm okay with that. It's so good.
I'm okay with that as long as keep making me cry. And
Can I tell you?
what?
I used to work at a movie theater, as
Uh-huh.
I've mentioned on this show, and as
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
when I quit that movie theater, the weekend. So I quit on a Friday. So my
Uh-huh.
last day was on a Friday. So
Uh-huh.
that's when movies get busy, like starting Friday, going all the way through the weekend when a big
Uh-huh.
movie comes out. The weekend I quit was the Demon Slayer movie.
Uh-huh.
It was the busiest movie they had that entire year because of COVID. So
Yeah.
obviously there could have been busier otherwise, but they got screwed because I mean we've dealt with it before. I was a supervisor at that point, so it's like obviously they could have used my help, but no, we got slammed. That movie was one of the biggest domestic or just no international releases that year.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge. People really loved it. So yeah, I'm very much aware. And then afterwards, I started watching the anime. So then I caught up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I get it."
Mm-hmm.
So
Should Demon Slayer go on on my list or your list?
I-
Probably not. We've
too
both seen it.
mainstream.
It's too mainstream.
When I was making my list, I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking the same thing with a lot of other stuff. Honestly, if it's like if I'm looking through Netflix and it's like on top watched or most highest rated, it's like I really can't. If it's basically if there are memes of it, it is too popular, and therefore I don't think we need to talk about it because most people already know what it is.
All right, that's a good rule moving forward, I suppose.
There has to be memes of it.
Has to be memes of it.
So like
to keep
Stranger
it up.
Things can't
No,
do.
Can't do it. Can't do Stranger Things.
Can't do it?
anything that calls itself like number one in America at any point.
Yeah.
Like can't do it. I'd love to cover Top Gun Maverick, but again, I think we'll just do separate videos for.
Well, I would love to as well, but that's also it's too big. It was too
I
good.
think we should also do movie reviews as like good movies as they come out. But I think we'll stick to your ideas like like dressing up for them. Like we still have to do Batman. And
Well,
so-
we talked about that offline, so we haven't mentioned that. But you had said
Yeah.
the Batman, the 2022 release,
Yeah.
was too big. It was too. You
too big.
really want to talk about it, but
It's
it was
too
too
good.
popular. But then I was like, well, let's just dress up as Batman and talk about it.
I don't have that foil anymore. Oh, it might be in my car, but I don't think I have that black foil anymore. But basically, I'll make a mask out of something else, and
Okay.
I might do.
We'll make Batman masks and wear
I
them.
might
And
do
then
a whole getup. I think I'm kind of
Please.
excited about it.
Can you Parks and Rec, Ben Wyatt, season 3, I think, when he's sad Ben and
When
he
he's
goes to
sad
the
Ben in the
mall
Batman outfit?
and buys the full Batman outfit. Can you do that?
I cannot do that. That's too good of a
Why
Batman
not?
suit. Too good of a Batman
was
suit. I
really
can't
good.
afford it. I'm not gonna spend my money on that. What I'm gonna do is make like the lowest budget Adam West Batman outfit I can. I shouldn't have
Please.
said that. I spoiled it. But that's
You
my
did, but
intention.
it's-
That's my intention. I
Can
think
you
I
have
would-
spoiled that, but then you end up wearing the Robin costume? Short shorts and all.
underwear and all? All right, I think
Yeah.
we're gonna call it there. But
I will say though, you mentioned one show you thought of on the podcast to put on your list. I thought of one too. Have you seen Ghosts, the
No.
CBS show?
no, I haven't seen it yet. But it's been on my list because I do have Paramount Plus, and I feel like okay, you can pitch it to me, and then I'll pitch to you
I'd love
probably
to. That was a
Golden
great
Kamuy
show.
because Golden Kamuy is really good. But I'll save my synopsis for it next episode or whenever we get around to it. But yeah,
More
this
to
is
look forward to.
So,
So
yeah.
if you're not bots out there, there is a real person listening,
not
look forward to
Italian,
those.
not Kenyan and Italian bots. I doubt it. Well,
Well, who
let's not
could
think-
they be though? Then out there,
I don't know. Could they be bots?
I mean, I don't want to shame any Italians or Kenyans. Please, if you are real people out there, please do listen. Tell your friends. But
Look,
still,
I do watch an Italian streamer who's in Italy and does his entire stream in English, so they know English. So like I don't know.
Why would you say that? Why would you bring it up like that? It's like
Because
they
like
know English.
why would someone in another country that speaks another language listen to like an American podcast, right? Because they also speak
What?
English. Like it's
Yeah, but that's kind of, pretty popular. Not popular, but common. It's
common,
there's
yeah.
just Americans are assholes and force their language onto pretty much the
Yeah.
entire world. So, well, I went. My family went on a European vacation years and years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people in France and Italy, they all spoke English, and I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of easy to get around.
It is. It's very easy to get around. But anyway, that was me correcting myself because I was being a little ignorant there. But I think we're good for today. Shadow and Bone. Got it right. Shadow and Bone.
Did you?
It's on Netflix. But get it wherever you can.
Please,
Get it wherever you can. And
especially if Netflix dies overnight.
dies overnight.
They're dying a
Hopefully
slow
someone
death,
picks
and
it
then
up.
if someone pulls the plug,
So many
get it wherever you
shows.
can.
So many shows moving networks nowadays. That's a separate discussion. But this has been episode 5, I believe, of the Consume Content Podcast. I've been Josh. This has been
That's
Matt.
Josh.
Yes. This has been Matt. We'll see you later.
Thanks. This has been the Poop Podcast.